You know what mechanics hate? Electric vehicles that brick themselves after the warranty expires. But here's what most people don't realize. There are EVs out there that mechanics actually respect. These aren't the ones advertised during the Super Bowl or hyped by tech bros. These are vehicles that show up in independent shops with 150,000 miles on the clock, and the techs just shrug and say, change the cabin filter, rotate the tires, you're good. Some of these will surprise you. Others, you'll wonder why nobody talks about them. 1. 2013 to 2017. Tesla Model S mechanic in Portland told me something that stuck with me. I've seen 3 Model S cars cross 400,000 miles. I've never seen a single catastrophic battery failure on one that wasn't crash damaged. That's not marketing spin. That's a tech who works on EVs every single day telling you the early Model S is damn near bulletproof where it counts. And he's not alone. Talk to mechanics who specialize in electric vehicles, and they'll tell you the same thing. These cars just don't die. The secret is thermal management so obsessive it borders on ridiculous. Tesla built a liquid cooling system with individual channels for every battery module, sensors monitoring temperature differentials down to fractions of a degree, and active heating and cooling that runs even when the car is parked. Battery degradation averages 2.3% per 50,000 miles, which means at 200,000 miles you're still sitting on over 90% capacity. Mechanics love the simplicity of the drivetrain. One moving part in the motor, the rotor. No transmission, no clutches, no bands, no differential with spider gears that can explode. Just a fixed gear reduction that turns motor RPM into wheel speed. Independent shops that have torn these motors down report tolerances you'd expect in industrial equipment designed to run 24/7 for years. The induction motor design is brilliant from a longevity perspective. Unlike permanent magnet motors that can lose magnetism over time, induction motors use electromagnets. As long as you've got electricity, they make torque. There's no degradation mechanism except bearing wear, and those bearings are massively overspec'd. Real-world examples back this up. There's documented cases of Model S vehicles used as taxis in Europe, exceeding 500,000 kilometers with original battery and drivetrain. These aren't garage queens. They're working vehicles getting hammered daily. The 2012 to 2016 models have something else going for them. Free supercharging for life. That's not just a cost savings. It means you can fast charge without worrying about accelerated degradation because the thermal management handles it. Mechanics see these cars come in after years of daily supercharging with battery health that's essentially unchanged. Downsides exist. Door handles fail with annoying regularity. The MCU, main computer, can develop memory issues requiring a $1,500 replacement. Suspension bushings wear faster than they should, but mechanics will tell you, those are predictable maintenance items, not catastrophic failures. Used prices run $25,000 to $40,000 depending on year and mileage. You're getting a proven powertrain, free charging, and a vehicle that mechanics actually trust. 2. 2017 to 2020 Chevrolet Bolt EV. Here's a test. Walk into an independent EV repair shop and ask which car they'd recommend to their mother. Half of them will say the Bolt without hesitation. The Bolt is what happens when GM's decades of hybrid experience meets a blank sheet of paper for a pure EV. They didn't try to reinvent wheels or chase headline specs. They built an appliance in the best possible way. General Motors used a refrigerant-based thermal management system instead of complex liquid cooling with pumps and valves. Fewer components mean fewer failure points. Mechanics appreciate this because when something does need service, it's automotive-grade HVAC components, not proprietary systems that require dealer diagnostics. The permanent magnet motor is lifted directly from the Volt, which proved itself bulletproof from 2011 onward. We're talking about a motor design with over a decade of real-world validation before it ever went into a pure EV. Mechanics have torn these motors down and found industrial-grade construction, not cost-optimized consumer-grade. Battery degradation is remarkably low. Real-world data from rideshare drivers putting on 60,000 miles per year shows less than 8% capacity loss after 3 years. That's with constant fast charging and zero battery babying. The LG chem cells prioritize longevity over maximum energy density, and it shows. Then there's the recall situation, which actually makes used bolts a better value. GM recalled every bolt from 2017 to 2022 for potential battery fires and replaced the entire pack under warranty. Find a used bolt today, and there's a strong chance you're getting a brand new $15,000 battery that's already been swapped. It's like buying a used car with a new engine already installed. Mechanics love how normal this car is to work on. Brakes, suspension, steering, it's all conventional. The 12-volt electrical system doesn't require special tools. Parts are available at any GM dealer. This isn't a specialty vehicle that only 3 shops in your state can touch. The charging speed limitation, 50 kilowatts max, is the main drawback. Road trips mean planning your life around hour-long charging stops. But for a commuter vehicle or second car, mechanics consistently recommend it because it just doesn't break. $12,000 to $18,000 buys you a Bolt with a replaced battery. That's hard to beat. 3. 2018 to 2021 Nissan Leaf with battery replacement. Most people shopping for a used EV completely dismiss the Leaf because of the degradation horror stories. Mechanics know something different. The early Leafs absolutely had battery degradation problems. Nissan's decision to skip active thermal management was catastrophic in hot climates. But here's what changed. Nissan quietly made replacement batteries available for $8,500 to $12,000, and third-party refurbished packs are even cheaper. Mechanics are doing the math differently than consumers. Buy a 2016 Leaf with a toast battery for $6,000. Install a refurbished 40 kilowatt-hour pack for $10,000. You've got a mechanically sound EV with 150 miles of real-world range for $16,000 total. Find anything comparable for that money? You can't. The rest of the Leaf is engineered like a Japanese appliance designed to run forever. The electric motor has one moving part with bearings built to industrial tolerances. The single-speed reduction gear is a fixed ratio with lifetime fluid. There's no complex transmission to fail. Mechanics see Leafs with over 200,000 miles on original motors, showing zero degradation. Parts availability is exceptional because Nissan sold over 500,000 Leafs worldwide. Independent shops know these cars inside out. Battery modules, drive units, controllers, all available on the secondary market. This is critical for long-term ownership because you're not held hostage by dealer pricing. Third-party battery upgrades are emerging too. Companies are offering higher capacity packs than Nissan ever installed from the factory. A mechanic in California specializes in Leaf battery upgrades and reports doing 3 to 4 per week. The aftermarket support is real. The caveat is charging infrastructure. CHAdeMO fast charging is being phased out in favor of CCS. Long-term, finding compatible fast chargers will get harder. But for local driving with home charging, it doesn't matter. Mechanics recommend the Leaf with one condition: budget for a battery replacement if you're buying one with degradation. Do that, and you've got one of the most reliable EVs on the market. 4. 2017 to 2019 BMW i3. I can already hear people saying, a BMW that mechanics recommend? That's crazy. Yeah, normally you'd be right, but the i3 is different in ways that matter to technicians who actually wrench on these things. The carbon fiber passenger cell doesn't rust, doesn't corrode, doesn't fatigue like metal. Mechanics who've seen 10-year-old i3s report body structures that look brand new, because CFRP just doesn't deteriorate. This is the same material used in Formula One cars, and it's engineered for a 30-year lifespan. BMW's battery management is incredibly conservative, which mechanics love. The system won't let you abuse the battery even if you try. Charging rates are limited, thermal management is active even when parked, and the usable battery capacity is padded to protect the cells. Real-world degradation data shows less than 5% capacity loss at 100,000 miles. The electric motor was co-developed with Toyota based on hydrogen fuel cell technology. It's a synchronous design that produces 170 horsepower from a unit the size of a watermelon. Mechanics report 0 motor failures in normal use. The thing is absurdly reliable. The single-speed transmission is so simple it barely qualifies as a transmission. Fixed gear reduction with no clutch, no bands, no hydraulics. Fluid change every 100,000 miles is the only maintenance. Compare that to a dual-clutch transmission or CVT, and you understand why mechanics appreciate the i3. Range-extended models, REX, add a tiny 650 cubic centimeter motorcycle engine as a backup generator. Mechanics familiar with BMW scooters recognize this engine. It's been bulletproof in European scooters for decades. The Rex gives you unlimited range as long as gas stations exist, which eliminates the biggest anxiety with early EVs. Independent shops can work on i3s more easily than other BMWs. The high-voltage system has clear documentation and standardized safety procedures. The 12-volt electronics are conventional. Suspension and brakes use familiar BMW components. This isn't a sealed black box that only dealers can touch. The quirky styling has aged surprisingly well. What looked weird in 2014 now looks ahead of its time. The sustainable materials, eucalyptus wood, recycled plastics, vegetable tanned leather, are holding up better than traditional materials because BMW chose them for durability, not just marketing. You're looking at $18,000 to $28,000 for 2017 to 2019 models. The Rex commands a premium, but mechanics say it's worth it for the peace of mind. That's what you're really paying for. 5. 2019 to 2021 Hyundai Kona Electric. A mechanic who specializes in EV battery diagnostics showed me something fascinating. Degradation curves from 5,000 Kona Electrics he'd tested. The curve was almost flat. Battery capacity loss was averaging 3 to 4% after 80,000 miles across the entire sample. That's not cherry-picked examples. That's the average across thousands of real-world vehicles. Mechanics see this data and immediately understand why the Kona is different. Hyundai's thermal management is borderline paranoid. The system preconditions the battery before fast charging, actively cools during charging, maintains optimal temperature when parked and plugged in, and will even heat the battery in extreme cold before allowing full power. This level of protection means the battery lasts longer, even when owners beat on it. The powertrain is lifted from Hyundai's hybrid program going back to 2011. The permanent magnet motor produces 201 horsepower and has exactly one moving part. The reduction gear is a sealed unit with lifetime fluid. Mechanics love this because there's almost nothing to service and almost nothing that can fail. Real-world examples validate the engineering. Norwegian taxi drivers, who fast charge twice daily in minus 30 degrees Celsius winters, report minimal degradation after 150,000 miles. If it survives that abuse, normal use is nothing. The 10-year 100,000-mile warranty on battery and motor is transferable to second owners. Mechanics point this out because it means buying used doesn't leave you exposed to catastrophic repair bills. Hyundai backed their engineering with money, which says something. Charging speed maxes at 100 kilowatts, which is adequate but not impressive. You're looking at 47 minutes from 10% to 80%. Mechanics don't see this as a flaw. Conservative charging rates contribute to longer battery life. Depreciation has been brutal, creating opportunity for buyers. A $45,000 Kona from 2020 is now worth $22,000 to $28,000. You're getting a 3-year-old vehicle with 90% plus battery health for half price. Mechanics call this the smart buy in the used EV market. The infotainment system is admittedly terrible. Clunky interface, dated graphics, random freezes. But that's software, not mechanical. The important stuff is rock solid. 6. 2018 to 2020 Tesla Model 3. Picture this. An EV repair shop owner in Michigan documented a Model 3 owner who tracked every metric for 180,000 miles. Battery capacity at the end? 92%. Total powertrain repairs? 0. Brake pad replacement? Once at 120,000 miles. Mechanics who work on Model 3s consistently report the same thing. The powertrain is absurdly durable. The battery uses larger 2170 cells instead of the older 18650 format, which means fewer cells, fewer interconnections, fewer failure points. The structural integration of the battery pack into the chassis distributes forces better and eliminates mounting points that can corrode. The heat pump system introduced in 2020 is legitimately impressive from a mechanical standpoint. Traditional EVs use resistive heating that can cut winter range by 40%. Tesla's heat pump scavenges waste heat from the motor and inverter, maintaining cabin comfort with minimal battery impact. Mechanics see winter range loss of only 15 to 20%, which is transformative. The permanent magnet motor shares DNA with industrial motors designed for 100,000-hour service lives. Translate that to automotive use, and you're looking at over 1 million miles of theoretical lifespan. Independent mechanics who've torn these motors down report aerospace-grade tolerances and materials. Software updates keep the cars improving over time. A 2018 Model 3 today has features and performance that didn't exist at purchase. Mechanics appreciate this because it means the car becomes more capable as it ages, the opposite of every gas car. But here's where mechanics get frustrated. Build quality on early models was embarrassing. Panel gaps, paint defects, trim pieces that fall off. These issues are cosmetic but annoying. The mechanical components are solid, but the fit and finish makes you wonder if anyone at Tesla cared about quality control. Parts availability can be problematic. Tesla uses proprietary designs that aren't compatible with traditional suppliers. When something breaks, you're often waiting weeks for parts. Independent shops struggle because Tesla restricts access to service documentation and diagnostic tools. Insurance costs are higher because repairs are expensive. Tesla's unique body design means collision repair costs more than traditional vehicles. Comprehensive coverage can run 30 to 40% higher than comparable gas sedans. Used prices sit at $25,000 to $35,000 for 2018 to 2020 models. You're getting access to the supercharger network and proven durability, but mechanics warn about the cosmetic issues and parts availability challenges. 7. 2019 to 2021 Audi e-tron. Here's what mechanics notice first when an e-tron rolls into the shop. It's heavy, absurdly heavy. The battery pack alone weighs over 1,500 pounds. That weight comes from over-engineering that borders on obsessive. Audi built cooling channels between every battery module, 432 pouch cells with individual thermal management. Mechanics see e-trons come in after years of towing and aggressive driving with battery health that's essentially unchanged. The dual motors are derivatives of Audi's rally program. These aren't experimental EV motors, they're evolutions of motors that survived the Dakar rally. Mechanics appreciate the industrial-grade construction because it means reliability under sustained high loads. A shop in Colorado services commercial e-trons used for mountain towing. They've seen multiple vehicles exceed 150,000 miles towing 4,000 plus pounds regularly, with minimal battery degradation. The thermal management doesn't care if you're climbing mountain passes in summer. It maintains optimal temperature regardless. Charging speed is where Audi's engineering shows. The e-tron can sustain 150 kilowatt rates longer than most competitors. While other EVs taper charging aggressively, the e-tron's thermal management allows it to maintain high rates. Mechanics point out this means faster real-world charging, even though the peak rate isn't the highest on paper. The interior materials are holding up exceptionally well. Real leather, metal trim, wood accents, all chosen for longevity. 5-year-old e-trons still have interiors that look new because Audi didn't take shortcuts with sustainable materials that deteriorate. But mechanics warn about complexity. This is still an Audi with 50-plus computers, sensors everywhere, and sophisticated systems. Air suspension failures can cost $3,000 per corner. Matrix LED headlights are $2,500 each. When luxury features fail, repairs are expensive. The EV components, though? Mechanics consistently report low failure rates. Audi's warranty data supports this. Battery and motor failures are well below industry average. You're looking at $35,000 to $48,000 for 2019 to 2021 models. That's a $75,000 luxury SUV for half price. Mechanics recommend it with one caveat: budget for potential luxury feature repairs while trusting the powertrain to last. 8. 2021 to 2023 Volkswagen ID.4. Most people have never heard of modular battery design. Mechanics understand why it matters. The ID.4's battery pack uses individually replaceable modules. If one module degrades faster than others, You don't replace the entire $20,000 pack, just the affected module. European shops are already offering module-level service for under $3,000. This changes the long-term cost equation completely. Volkswagen built the MEB platform specifically for EVs, not as a retrofitted gas car. Mechanics appreciate this because packaging makes sense, thermal management works properly, and the structure is optimized for battery longevity. It's ground-up engineering instead of compromise. The permanent magnet motor produces 201 horsepower, from a unit Volkswagen claims is designed for 300,000-mile service life. It's a brushless design with minimal wear items, just bearings that are massively overspec'd for the loads. European taxi data shows 7 to 8% capacity loss at 125,000 miles. That's slightly higher than the best on this list, but still exceptional. Mechanics note the thermal management prioritizes longevity over maximum performance, which is the right trade-off. Independent shops report the ID.4 is surprisingly accessible to work on. The high-voltage system uses standardized connectors. The 12-volt electronics are conventional. Suspension components are shared with other VW products, meaning parts are available and affordable. This isn't a dealer-only vehicle. The infotainment system has improved with updates but still lags competitors. Touch-sensitive controls are frustrating. No physical buttons for volume or climate. Mechanics hear complaints about this constantly, but it doesn't affect mechanical durability. Volkswagen's 8-year, 100,000-mile battery warranty covers degradation below 70% capacity. That's average for the industry, but still significant protection. You're looking at $28,000 to $38,000 for 2021 to 2023 models. Mechanics recommend it for buyers who value proven engineering and long-term serviceability over cutting-edge features. 9. 2020 to 2022 Porsche Taycan. Unlike every other vehicle where mechanics recommend conservative engineering, the Taycan proves you can build a performance EV that lasts. The 800-volt architecture is unique. Doubling voltage compared to 400-volt systems means lower current for the same power. Lower current means less resistive heating, less stress on connections, longer component life. Mechanics understand this because electrical theory is fundamental. Having current while doubling voltage reduces resistive losses by 75%. Porsche documented a torture test where they charged a Taycan 3,000 times, from 5% to 80%. After those cycles, battery capacity retained 97%. Mechanics see this data and immediately respect the engineering because it proves the thermal management and battery chemistry are exceptional. The permanent magnet motors use hairpin winding, rectangular copper wire instead of round. It packs tighter, conducts heat better, increases power density. Mechanics who've torn these motors down report construction quality that exceeds automotive standards. The rear motor produces 402 horsepower continuously, not just in short bursts. The 2-speed transmission on the rear axle is something mechanics debate. It adds complexity, but Porsche's been building bulletproof transmissions for decades. First gear provides brutal acceleration. Second gear engages around 60 miles per hour for highway efficiency. The system works, and failure rates are low. Track use doesn't faze the Taycan. Mechanics who service cars used for racing instruction report minimal degradation even after hundreds of track laps. A documented case exists of a Taycan used for racing instruction covering 60,000 miles in 18 months with only 4% battery loss. Range is the trade-off. The base Taycan manages 225 miles EPA rated. Real world is closer to 200. Porsche prioritized performance and charging speed over raw range. But that charging speed, 22.5 minutes from 5% to 80% on a 350 kilowatt charger. The 800-volt architecture allows sustained high charging rates that competitors can't match. Mechanics appreciate this because it makes the lower range more acceptable. The interior is typical Porsche quality. Real materials, metal switchgear, carbon fiber. Nothing feels temporary. Mechanics see 5-year-old Taycans with cabins that could pass for new. Complexity is high. Air suspension, rear wheel steering, adaptive dampers. Amazing when they work, expensive when they fail. Budget $2,000 to $3,000 annually for maintenance. you're looking at $55,000 to $75,000 for 2020 to 2022 models. Mechanics recommend it for enthusiasts who want performance without sacrificing longevity. The engineering is proven. You're just paying for German complexity alongside it. 10. 2022 to 2024 Ford F-150. Lightning, I saved this one for last because it answers a question mechanics get constantly. Can EVs handle real work? The Lightning proves they can. Mechanics who service commercial fleets report these trucks are surviving abuse that would destroy softer EVs. The battery pack sits in a structural cradle that doubles as frame reinforcement. You can load 2,000 pounds in the bed, tow 10,000 pounds, and the battery doesn't care. Early degradation data is surprising mechanics. Ford conservatively estimated 10% loss by 100,000 miles. Real fleet data is tracking closer to 6 to 7%. Commercial users, contractors, utilities, fleet managers are running these trucks hard, and the batteries are holding up better than predicted. The dual motors produce 452 horsepower standard, 580 in extended range. These aren't sophisticated motors with exotic materials. They're industrial-grade units designed for durability over efficiency. Ford's been building electric motors for commercial vehicles since the early 2000s. This is mature technology scaled up. The Pro Power system provides 9.6 kilowatts of exportable power. Mechanics see contractors using Lightnings as mobile generators, eliminating separate equipment. This capability alone justifies the purchase for some commercial buyers. Build quality is typical F-150, designed to be beaten on and repaired. Parts availability is excellent because components are shared with gas F-150s. Independent mechanics can work on everything except the high-voltage system. This isn't a specialty vehicle requiring dealer-only service. Real-world range sits at 240 miles standard battery, 320 extended. Towing drops that to 100 to 150 miles at capacity. But mechanics point out, most truck owners don't tow constantly. For daily driving, range is more than adequate. Charging speed maxes at 150 kilowatts standard, 170 kilowatts extended range. That's not class-leading, but mechanics see it as adequate for real-world use. Plan lunch stops on road trips, and it's manageable. Depreciation has been punishing. A $75,000 Lightning from 2022 is now worth $45,000 to $55,000. Ford's aggressive price cuts destroyed residual values, but that creates opportunity for used buyers who understand what they're getting. Here's what separates the Lightning from every other EV. It's a real truck that happens to be electric. Mechanics recommend it because Ford engineered it to survive the same abuse that makes their gas trucks legendary. The battery is protected, the motors are overbuilt, and the truck handles work without complaint. The catch is operating costs. Insurance is expensive. Tires are $300 each. The 1,800-pound battery means brake wear is higher than lighter vehicles, even with regenerative braking. You're looking at $45,000 to $65,000 for 2022 to 2024 models. Mechanics recommend it for buyers who need truck capability and understand EVs. Ford built this to last because they knew their customers wouldn't accept anything less. These 10 vehicles share something beyond just being electric. Mechanics recommend them because they're engineered for longevity, serviceable by independent shops, and proven in real-world conditions. Daily commuter? The Bolt or Leaf with a battery upgrade delivers value mechanics respect. Need proven luxury? The e-tron or Taycan combine performance with durability. Want a truck that works? The Lightning is ready. The common thread is engineering that prioritizes substance over hype. These vehicles were designed to last, and mechanics see the proof every day in their shops. Which one would you trust? Drop a comment below, and if your mechanic recommends an EV I missed, call me out. I want to hear about it. Hit subscribe for more deep dives into vehicles that actually last. Next video, we're exposing luxury cars that are secretly cheap to maintain. Some will shock you. Thanks for watching.